Welcome to No Compromises, a peek into the mind of two old web devs who have seen some things. This is Joel.
And this is Aaron. As a programmer, I find that it's difficult to use the word no, not N-O, K-N-O-W,
Oh
no.
boy. Okay.
Because like when do you know something? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like when you're familiar with it, you've used it, you're a specialist in it. Like what do we mean when we say no, especially as technical people? And so I can give you a really concrete example. I know TypeScript,
Okay.
but I don't actually know it. I mean, I do, but I don't. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, first of all, when you said as a programmer, I like immediately went into like user story mode. I'm like, oh, wow, what's the requirement here? But um, yeah, I think there's actually a term for this that I used to know, but I was researching it. 'Cause, you remember me? I had like my whole phase on learning.
Yeah.
Where I
How'd
was
that
like,
work out?
I learned everything. That's the
Okay.
man I am
Except
today.
for this, except for this one thing that you're trying to tell me. All right.
Except the thing I forgot that relates to this. But no, like there is a progression of like knowledge mastery, like would be the term that's used, where there's points at which you don't even know how much you don't know, right? Like,
Mhm.
but to your point, I think like when I say no Laravel, right? I'm comfortable with it. I'm confident that if I sit down to use this tool, I'm going to make good decisions because I've done it enough times. And also, I think because I've run into enough problems doing things
Right.
the wrong way that I've built up these opinions of what the right way to do something is. With TypeScript, to go back to your specific example, I definitely know the syntax. I've used it on projects, but I haven't used it to an extent that I feel strong opinions, and strong opinions isn't even the right word, but like I don't feel like I have the well-worn paths like I do with PHP and Laravel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think one of the things for TypeScript too is I kept looking at it as like I think about TypeScript as like the Webpack world, but now we've moved on to things like, Vite and stuff like that. But
Okay.
like it always seemed to me that it needed to be configured or something like that. Now it's like just another thing to my chain, another
Oh,
compilation step. I was like, I get it. And I've even went so far as like defining parameters to my JavaScript methods as objects with all the keys filled in and their default
sure.
values and stuff to try to get around using the
Yeah.
tool that's made for this. So
Just
there's
out of
like this.
curiosity, did you feel any of that resistance with like declare strict types or anything in PHP, or because there was less ceremony, like it just is it the fact that like this is a new tool with new configuration options, or is it just like the strictness of types and like having to deal with those error messages, or was it both of them?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, that's a great question. I'm still even struggling with it now. It's like
Yeah.
I know that using TypeScript for me is one Google search away. Vite TypeScript. That's all I have to
Right.
do, and that's
Yep.
all. And it's gonna be like a
Yeah.
short article that's mainly ads that tells me how to do it. Like I know I can do it. I don't, and
Yeah.
yet do I know TypeScript because I've written it, and
Yeah.
I don't not understand it. I've written interfaces, I've written, different things. As you can tell, I'm having a hard time talking about it because I don't know it. But should I say I know it?
Yeah. I mean, with an asterisk, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I think maybe the bigger issue is, um, it feels like an imprecise word. Oh, I know this technology because there's so many different degrees of like the person that attended a 2-day workshop, which was me at one point. I went to Front End Masters and I attended a workshop on TypeScript, and it was great. I'm like, oh my goodness, you can do all this and that. And then I didn't really know it at that point. Like I was familiar with the syntax. So
Mhm.
maybe that it's just like kind of a generic word in English that doesn't really convey enough information. That's why I feel uncomfortable using it with something that we're not 100% technically proficient in.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people will say, well, then you can just say you're familiar with it, or maybe you should
Sure.
say how many years of experience do you have in it. But again,
Okay.
that's along those same lines as like I could say that I have many years of experience because I remember when they started applying TypeScript to Angular.
Yeah.
Yes, I think even like it might have even been the first one. And I was like, wow, this is something I should probably learn, and didn't. But I could read it and see it and all those
Yeah.
different things, and so I'm still struggling with like, do I like is there another word we should be using? Like I can read TypeScript, but I don't know it,
Are you
but I've
fluent?
written it.
You know, like we use
Yeah,
that with like
oh
spoken
yeah,
languages. You know, I'm conversational or I'm fluent or I'm native. You know, like there's all these different
yeah.
proficiency
I'm
levels.
I'm 2 months in and Duolingo on
That's right.
TypeScript.
I can say where is the library in TypeScript. Um, well, you know, it is an interesting topic. Oh, just putting the learning thing aside, like just focusing in on the specific technology of TypeScript. I should like it. Because I see the value of it. I really do like using types in PHP. You know me, I've gone nuts and done like really strongly typed languages like in functional programming and like completely
Yeah.
geeked out over that. So like I completely get it. But here we are where it's not like we have our our Laravel standard project template that we use as a point of reference. You know, we don't actually use it to bootstrap projects, but we look at it and it's kind of all of our best practices. And there is no TypeScript in that template,
Hmm.
right? Because it's just not something we've gone all in on. But I think we should. I think Aaron, you and I should commit to knowing TypeScript. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I already know it. So there's a lot of anxiety and stress in our world. A lot of people are stressed out about specific things like I get my bills paid, do I have a place to live, do I have something to eat tonight. But I don't think they understand the extreme stress that we went through as kids trying to use the rotary phone or type in the pad and not typing fast enough or swinging the gear fast enough that it timed out and said the number you've dialed is not whatever.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
I did not remember any of that until you started saying it. But yes,
Oh
yeah,
man,
I don't remember it
I
with the
have
touch
flashbacks to
tone.
that. Yeah, like
It was a thing with touch tone.
yeah, yeah, I think so. Right? Yeah,
Okay.
like there. I mean, unless you had fancy phones, you probably had fancy
All
phones because of the
right.
heated floors
Here
and
we
whatnot.
go.
But yeah, the touch ones that weren't like because there was like two types of touch ones where you could dial the number and then press like call or the ones before that.
Yeah.
And so that's the one I'm talking about. Like when you pick
Oh,
up the phone and
okay.
at a dial tone and you press the
Right.
buttons.
So if you start dialing like the number and then you forgot the four digits and you had to like run and go get something and like yeah, you'd come back and be screeching in your ear.
I mean, so you clearly haven't done this because of the way you just described it. You wouldn't Joel.
What?
You wouldn't type in the numbers and then run and go get the rest of the numbers. You would have hung up the phone by then because you know it's going to time out because it happens to you all the time because you're not that fast at these things because it's I don't know, it's it's before the internet, okay?
That's right. You forget how forgetful I am though. I make the same mistakes multiple times in a row.
Yeah, I remember using the rotary dial phones and just knowing that you had a friend that had a 0 or a 9 in their phone number, you almost just didn't want to call them because, if it was like 9009, I'm just like I guess I'm just not going to call them because for those who don't know, that meant like sticking your finger in the rotary thing and twisting it almost entirely all the way around and then letting it go click 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 all the way back.
Yeah.
No.
Just let
We
that
don't have
friend
time for
go.
that. Yeah, you don't have time for that. Do you need some expert assistance applying TypeScript to your project?
As you just heard, we cannot help you, but if you need help with Laravel and PHP, we are your guys. Check out our website, nocompromises.io.